It's a very simple thing, SEO, but it's also complicated at the same time. Uh, my presentation is basically a cheat code of what ways you can start improving it now, and then it takes continuous work. So first off, we start, is my website even effective? And here we see, do you have a website? If you don't, then it's not effective. If you do, you are halfway there. That's half the battle. You can always improve on something, but if you don't have anything, then you have to start from the get-go. How do I know how effective my website is? I'll fix that later. Basically, people think as long as you have a site, if somebody visits it, it's successful. As long as the traffic's there, it's good. But it's better to know. The best way to know how your site is doing is through web analytics. And that's the process of analyzing behaviors of visitors to the site. This involves tracking, reviewing, and reporting data to measure web activity, including the use of a website and its components such as web pages, images, video. Web analytics data are great for setting benchmarks. So if you don't know where to start, well, you set up your analytics and then you go from there. If you have already a site, so you know what to fix and what to leave alone. Depending on how your site is built, there's a number of ways you can do it. Wix has its own built-in thing. I don't really know how it works. I'm a WordPress kind of gal because you can completely do everything on your own. So it all depends on what you have set up. And that tracks your analytics. So for the Greater Sydney Conference, I set it up and then it looks like this. So when you go into Google Analytics, which is free, it's free 99, you should use it. It shows you like a bunch of things that you can look at. Users, that's how many people visit the site, and then sessions and all these things. Another one is Google Search Console, which is also free. And this one I like, it's very interesting. It tells you what they're looking at specifically. So for example, I get with Google Search Console, bless you, you get a monthly email, and the monthly email looks like this. And it'll say, hey, this is your performance for your site. So if you look at our site there, we had 3,580K, or that's, 3,580 people visit, but we had 160,000 impressions. It shows you where people are going, your content achievements and whatnot, what they're looking up, questions and stuff that they're typing into Google, and then all these things, what device they're using to visit your site. So most people are going on mobile. If it's not doing well, you would try to fix it so that it's doing a little bit better. It's easier for the people who are using their devices to visit your phone. And we call that having a responsive website. Responsive means it just automatically adjusts to the device screen that you have, or the device that you're using. So what can I do to make my site more effective? And these are the fundamentals. First and foremost, know thyself, thy ministry, and thyness company. I don't know if that's how you use the word, but I thought it sounded good, so I put it in there. The best way to know that is to find your business value proposition. And your BVP is what you sell, who wants it, and who wants it becomes your buyer personas, your segments, and why. So that's one of the key words if you want to do some research, which you should always do. Look up business value proposition and then research that. That'll help you figure out what you need to do and how to break it down. I did this for one of our ministries, which I think all ministries should do. But a good example is singles ministry. Oh my gosh, I forgot to set my timer, y'all. My bad. Hopefully I keep within the thing. So singles ministry, ministries tend to just shoot far and wide. Whatever we hit, we hit. We're just going to create something. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. So here. But I think it's always good to have segments and personas within a ministry. So for singles ministry, I broke it down. The business value proposition will be like, it provides support, encouragement, and community for unmarried Adventists, We also provide resources and training for those leading singles ministries at their local church. And you can see I've kind of broken down some of those personas, and that is not just singles, it's single and looking Adventists, and then under that you have the sub-segments, which is like single with a disability, under 30s, over 40s. Those are different groups. Widow, divorced, single ministries leaders, and then we geo-target, which is the area that you're specifically working towards or advertising to. Each one has a journey, and to be more effective is finding out what these people or what these groups need, how they would get to getting what they want to be happy. So, taking the example, the single and looking Adventists, they probably need encouragement because these streets are rough. They need community to socialize with other people in their same, and then they're hoping eventually to end up with a life partner. So it's like, how do you meet the people in the middle? How do you provide them encouragement and community so you end up here? And then that's how I would kind of break down what you offer within the ministry, targeted specifically to that audience, and then you build your website up for that audience specifically like that. And each of these would be its own thing. They're all requiring different things. Like it's different for someone who is widowed than someone who's just single and looking. They are going through grief a lot of times. It's particularly tough for those with small children. If you're widowed, young widow with small children, how are they coping with all of the things that they now have to deal with to even get to a place where they would want to go through this process to end up here? It's like, you got to go through this to get to here, but it's all a part of a journey. And when we break that down, sketch it out, it makes it easier to be more effective. And then on the website, it's basically the same thing. Another thing to note, Google journey mapping. This is just some random one I found online, but it kind of helps with this thought process of how you would work through something, because it basically translates to a website. It's a good one to know, a good exercise to run through. So SEO, search engine optimization, what is it? It's a bucket of fun, I think, but stresses a lot of people out. It's a set of processes aimed at improving your website's visibility in search engines such as Google, Yahoo, and Bing. I don't know who's using Yahoo and Bing these days, but they're out there. We focus really on Google, and no shade to anybody else, but your page URLs appearing in users' search result is an impression. The users who click that link to visit your website is what's considered traffic. Organic traffic are the users who visit your page through content they did not pay for, such as Google Ads and any paid advertising. Again, we want to maximize the free. All about that free. So essentially, SEO is about fulfilling a user's search needs by creating relevant, intentional content to provide the best possible user experience and get more organic traffic. It's a science, an art, and a word game at the same time. It's basically like 3D or online Scrabble. You know how you get the words in, the numbers, and then you maximize points and stuff? That's what it is. You're just playing on the web. So the goal with SEO is to get to page 1. So as you can see here, page 1 is looking happy. There's like puppies and kitties playing in baskets, lots of snacks and stuff there. Anything page 2 and beyond, you might as well be with the ghosts in Hades because nobody wants to be there. Very few people go to page 2. It's a good start, sets a good benchmark if you're on 2 to get to page 1. But as far as Google and your website is, you do not want to be on page 2 or beyond. So the magic formula, as my homeboy Gandalf is showing, is this. You have your keywords, you create Google-friendly content to rank on Google, you get the clicks. Organic clicks is what we're, organic traffic that get the clicks, and then you get the conversion. And so you should have something which is a web inquiry or an e-commerce. I always think of website as a customer service. It should be like just mission. What are you offering? If you don't have anything to offer, don't worry about it, because what's the point? It should be intentional, and there should always be like a call to action. What do you want people to do to get them to the next step or stage of their journey? And then you follow up. We see you purchased a product. Are you happy with it? These are some other things you might be interested in. I see you attended this event, or you were interested. We have another one coming up. Do you want to attend? So this is what I added in by follow up there. So how to do it. Keywords start the SEO process, as that is what people type into Google. A search term is a word or a set of words a person enters when searching on Google and other site network or search network sites. A keyword is a word or set of words that specifically target the right audience. And the audience tends to be lazy. So, when we think, okay, I'm hungry, I want pizza. Most people just put pizza near me. They're not putting in, or if they're loyal to a specific brand, that's what they do, Pizza Hut near me, or breadsticks or something like that. That's basically what it is. But there are different types of keywords. And that's another thing to note here, that you should do some research on the 4 types of keywords. You have transactional ones, you have like a bunch of different, there's few different styles, and they all mean different things, but they all work for the greater good. To succeed at SEO, you need focused, in-depth, nuanced list of keywords. So the first thing you want to do is brainstorm possible keywords, then organize them into a keyword sheet, and then map out on which page they should go, with what you want them to do once they land on your page. And then again, that goes back to, do you want to make a sale? Do you want them to sign up for something? Do you want them to contact you for more information? Whatever it is, have a process. Tips for your SEO. Find your keywords using natural language syntax. Again, one of the things I struggle, I grew up in the church, but some of the things straight up confused me. Stewardship. I don't know what stewardship is to save my life. I understand personal development. On our website, that's what we have. It's personal development. Anyone from outside will understand, well, I'm trying to improve in time management. Okay, bet. That's one of the 5 areas of stewardship, and then that's how you can promote that. So you want to use a natural language syntax to build that out. Your keywords will become your landing pages. So say, we're going to go through that as well. But there's some free tools that you can use to sort through all of this. Google Ads Keywords Planner, there's Ahrefs, and then Google Autocomplete is a good one. And, I didn't finish this, but yeah, those are all good to use when you're building this stuff out. A good way to do this, and this is the way I like to roll, is reverse engineering. Justin yesterday called it, what is it? Holy copying or something like that? Yes, but holy borrowing, yeah, that's what it called. But yeah, if you want to sound fancy and you're charging clients for it, you're doing reverse engineering. And that's just scoping out the competition and seeing, and you don't want to go, not the ones that you think are your competition, the ones that are trending at the top. Those are your competition. You want to knock them out of their spot. So you see what they're doing well, and you implement what they're doing, not like copying word for word, obviously, but just the structure and things like that. How are they ranking? And a good way to find out when you go to a competitor's site is this way. If you go to view, once you type in your browser, there's a drop-down menu. You go to developers tools and then view source. It gives you a bunch of code. I don't have pictures of the code. It's quite messy, but you can look through it and then find your image tags, your meta description and stuff like that. You see the words that they're using, keywords, snatch them, put them in your keyword worksheet list, and then, yeah, use it for your benefit. So website structure. Once you have your keywords and whatnot, where do they go? A web structure. There's so many ways you can build a site, But every good site is like a good book, I say. It's you have a beginning, middle, and an end. That's your header. Make sure you're maximizing your header, the meta descriptions and things like that. You want to make sure the middle, where the body and the content marketing is, you want to make sure that's good. It's set up well so that you can maximize what you need, your headers and things, links and whatnot. And then the footer is very important because Google tends to scan the first page. That's the most important page of a website. It's your, I guess, MVP. I don't do sports, y'all, but I'm assuming it's like your MVP is like the most valuable player. The most important spot of a website is the home page. Sends its webs, the spiders and crawlers, and they go through and they pick out the important things. So they start with the top, they work to the bottom, and then the footer anchors it. So as long as you have your same words at the top at the bottom, you're going to be good, and you repeat it. Always keep it simple. Use your core words. Repetition is good, but don't switch it up. Relevant links, images, and ensure your content is geared to serving your customer needs. Page tags is another important thing. Web is basically HTML, which is hypertext markup language. That's the foundation of web. Page tags is the foundation of HTML. A lot of designers will build a pretty site, but they're only for humans. I think this used to be a Flash thing, like maybe a decade ago. Flash used to be very popular, but it wasn't conducive to Google. And they neglected Google Speaks, text, all the stuff in the background that people don't see or don't usually see. So another thing to research, add to your list, HTML tags. Read upon it, understand it, because there's different ways to play with it. And it's just not, I don't have enough time. You can go weeks into this stuff. But once you understand how an HTML page tags work, they not only speak to the browser, but also to Google, and how they speak to Google, then you can modify your content throughout with your keywords, and then have a better chance of ranking. Link building is another thing. It's essential aspect of SEO, and the fundamental ways that the search engine use links are to discover new web pages, which they can then use to in their search results. Say you're looking for bubble tea or something, and then there's a new company, they just dropped their website and they have links and stuff to it. Say, hey, well, we have a link, we'll just put it up on someone's search so they can go there and get your product. They also help determine how well a page should rank in the results, and that's sort of like a popularity contest. If we have a page and a lot of you link to our page with your website, it says to Google, hey, they're credible and they're cool, let's promote them more so they can be even cooler. So that's basically what link building under this does. And then there's 4 ways to do it. Cheat code. This is how you do it. To link build, there's 4 ways. You link your core keywords from your home page to the individual landing page, cross-linking landing pages with each other, linking landing pages to the footer text, a business value proposition of footer text, and then having other people link back to your site to boost authority. Keyword to research off-page SEO. And then last, I think this is the last one, but file names. A lot of people just put their file names as flyer, numbers, and random letters, and then they send it to you. That does nothing to work for you. You should always make sure you're naming your files exactly what the resource is or what the keyword is, and then fill in your alt descriptions, not only for inclusivity, but because that also works for the greater good. And you see here's some examples of how we go about it. Christian Church in Sydney resources, or this is not the best, but that just goes to show. And then SEO in action. So using all of those cheats, this is how I've done it for our site. The conference site, I preface, is a little bit interesting. I looked at our audience segments and I tried to figure out what we had to do and how to serve them in the best way, that it wasn't conflicting, cluttered, and just doing the most. The way I figured out was we have 4 audiences. We have the local church, we have the internal ministries, we have our external audience, and then I think it's constituents or something I had as the 4th one. And I had to reconcile that. The way I see our website is sort of a concierge that leads to the local church's website. We have so many churches, I can't do this for all of them, but I can control what, or at least help them from one specific thing. So this is what I've been doing for all of our churches, and it's been a slow and steady race. So we start with the Sydney Portuguese Church. If you typed in Portuguese Church Sydney, they are number 1 they're A2. So in SEO speak, this is called a snack pack. You have your map here, and then you have the Google organic search results. If there were paid advertising, they would be above here. I think this is an older iteration. They might have changed the setup. But you would see our church, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, is in the top for the map, and then we're number 2 under the Archdiocese of Sydney. It's a small church. I think the other ones have been older, but we're dominating the spaces. And not only on the text end, well, here too, like we have the feature. If you go to our site, this is picture, well, I'll get to it, but yeah, we're doing very well. You see A2, we're doing very well. These are the positions you want to be. A lot of people are lazy, they don't scroll past this. So the higher you can be, the better. And again, and this is what goes back to when I say you label your images. What I've been doing for a lot of our churches is having, I have a contractor go out and take professional pictures of each church. This is the goal, to have everyone done. I then upload it to our website, but I upload it to Google. The file name contains Portuguese Church Sydney. So when people look it up in images, it's also the first one because the keyword matches exactly what a person would look up. So we're winning. If you are just having photo, image, 06, whatever number, it's not going to do anything for you, but you want to have something working while you're doing other things. For our site, this is basically our business value proposition. We're a Saturday keeping Christian church in Sydney, centered on Bible studies, holistic health, life groups, community service, and personal development. If you're looking for spiritual guidance, contact us to find a church near you. And then, we also have food pantries, a campground, bookstores, private schools, and affordable venues for hire. We want our churches to be beacons that people actually use. I don't use Adventist in here because the site overall has it, but the competitive keyword is Christian Church in Sydney. That's what I add for everything, and just focus on that keyword to kind of gain traction.
Joyce, can I just ask a question there?
Yes, sir.
You're using the Portuguese church as an example. Would you have anything in the Portuguese language anywhere in the search?
Yes, well, there's a little text that on I think one of the slides afterwards, but yeah, it shows. It shows that's in the body of the text, and then you can kind of play around with it, but I think it's on here. When I mentioned keyword mapping and whatnot, this is what it looks like. When you do your keyword research, you look up everything that's related. This, again, is not the best example for what we need, but it's a good one to illustrate. Once you find out how competitive they are, search volume and whatnot, and how difficult they would be to use, you pick out the ones that you can work with, and then you map them. Where would they go? And this is a good way to organize your thoughts and keywords for your website. So going back to the Portuguese church, this one is Portuguese because it's language specific or culture specific. Any of the English churches, they are Christian church suburb. We don't really use anything else. So this is how I set up the page so that it ranks on Google #1. You'll see in the slug, which is the URL, it says Portuguese Church Sydney. I don't use whatever the name is, and then I just repeat that. In the title, which is like, I guess, H1 or H2, that would be like a page tag. It says Sydney Portuguese Church. You'll see the breadcrumb here, also Sydney Portuguese Church. It repeats the same thing. If you scroll down the page, it's a Portuguese-speaking church, just a changed up version, just, to give it a little something. And you'll notice here in the body, it's in Portuguese. We rank with the English speaking because it's an English speaking nation. We assume it'll go there. So this is what they provided, and that's what I use. But as long as the major bits, the most important parts that speak to Google are using our keywords, then it's still going to work. And then you can see sort of the things they offer, and we try to work to be more inclusive. So it's hard in a city. There are all sorts of, types of buildings. So we want people to show up and then not feel like they can access the church. We make sure we find out if they're wheelchair accessible, how parking is, and then what they offer on the side. And then we link to whatever they have. So they had a website. It wasn't live, but because we're ranking #1 and we had popularity, it was helping their local webpage when it was up to perform better on Google search ranking because we gave them juice, like popularity juice. And then again, as you can see here in the bottom, I use the Portuguese church keyword again to kind of reiterate that. We use the same image, pretty image, because I'm a snoot. I like things to look pretty and clean. When you go someplace, there's nothing worse than seeing this super pixelated image of this like shady looking joint. I'm like, do I really want to go in there? It looks sus. Yeah, I don't want to go. I want to go there. That looks pretty. And then I upload it to Google under our Google, Sydney Adventist Google account. So not only they see that, hey, we're really interactive, that works with Google because they think these people are major contributors. Look at the quality content they're putting up. That all works to help our local churches boost up. So again, I don't have the capacity to edit everybody's local church website, but I can do it from ours, and this is what we've been doing. Portuguese church building in whatever the suburb is what I use for the file name, and it works. And then again, you see in our footer, our BVC, which is basically the business value proposition. It has a keywords, Christian Church in Sydney, which is church in Sydney. So when Google reads the whole page, they see top, bottom, footer, and then we're rewarded for this. And if you haven't yet, I can't believe we're the only, very few of us actually have the acknowledgement in it, so please include that on your websites. Yeah, so words of wisdom, don't try to be slick. Google AI is it's incredibly sharp. It's advanced a lot from where it's come from, so that, whereas back in the day, let me say 10, 15 years ago, you could just put your keywords in invisible text and it would work. These new plugins like Panda and Penguin, it's too smart. It'll detect that you're trying to outsmart it and it'll penalize you by shoving your site way to the bottom, and it'll take you ages to recover. With SEO, you don't have to be the best. You just have to be better than the competition. It's like outrunning a bear. It's like you just have to be faster than the slowest person, and you're good. And then, what is it? Yeah, it's a marathon and not a sprint. As long as you continually work, you'll see the reward for it. It's taken us ages. This is the whole Greater Sydney Conference site just launched. We did a brand new build a couple years ago, and so I've been working steady to get everything up. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done. But in terms of our local pages, local churches, 40 of the 106 are trending are on #1 of their Google search result, which is the way that we can support them, and then just make sure as concierge, people are going to the local church to get what they need. How their user and journey or customer journey or experiences after they get on to there. That unfortunately we can't say, but at least, you know, you try to do your part where you can. And yeah, that's basically how you game for ministry. I will have this. This is part of our site. I'm really proud of this. We have a radio station and you can listen to it on a thing. It pulses. But I'm working to build these resources. It should be available. I'll tweak it for the local churches. But it'll be available on our website. So just with all our resources, if you go to the sydneyadventist.org page and then look up resources, filter by communication, I have a bunch of stuff there, but this will be one to help guide ministries to have better organic traffic. And the more you get, the more you can monetize. And I'd like to see people having passive income that they can put back into their local church, or at least somehow support the community. So that's it. I've been Joyce.